Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another video tutorial under JavaScript for beginners, especially the jQuery part. So in the previous couple of videos of this tutorial series, we've been going through fundamentals of jQuery, and we've seen a lot of things like selectors in jQuery, we've seen some effects in jQuery, and now we are going to be moving to jQuery DOM manipulations. So just like how we were manipulating DOM objects, that is the HTML elements in plain JavaScript, we can also do that in jQuery, and of course we are going to be doing it by inbuilt functions and inbuilt methods which are provided in jQuery. So that's the entire trend that's going on currently in the jQuery tutorials, that we are using some inbuilt methods which are pre-provided by us by the jQuery library, and that makes things very easy. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, I have a little bit of code already written. This is our body. We have a heading tag, we have a button which is named as action, then we have a division with id div1 and class mydivs. So this class gives it this border and this green color. So if you go to the CSS, you can see the border is given 2 pixel blue, and then we have a color of dark cyan. You can change this. In fact, let me just cut this out. We don't need any color. Let's keep it black. Okay, so we have a paragraph. We have word paragraph as a little bit bold compared to other things by using the b tag. Then we have our script which is loading the jQuery library. So jQuery.js, which is inside this JS folder. So pretty much something which we've been doing in the previous couple of videos, just that the little bit HTML code is changed. So in this video, we are going to be taking a look at these 4 inbuilt methods which are used to perform DOM manipulations. The first one is text method, HTML method, attr, that is attribute method, and CSS method. Okay. So let's see how you can manipulate the DOM elements with these 4 different inbuilt methods. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to try to access this text inside this paragraph using the text or HTML method. So there is a slight variation between the two, but pretty much both of them do the same thing. So let's see how it works. So inside the document.ready, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the click method or click event for this button using the ID btn1 of that button. So I'm going to say .click. Inside that, I'm going to create an anonymous function and opening and closing round brackets of the function, opening and closing curly braces of the function. Inside this, let's first try to use the text method. Okay, so I'm going to use the alert method. I'm going to say alert. Inside that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say $. So I'm going to use the selector and I'm going to select the paragraph. Okay, so since there is only one single paragraph, I can directly select the entire element. If you have multiple paragraphs, you can give an ID. So let's give it an ID. In fact, I'm going to say ID equals to P1. Okay, so here I'm going to say hash P1, of course in single or double quotes. And now what I'm going to say is I'm going to say text. Okay, so in the alert, I'm just selecting this paragraph, that is selecting this element with ID P1, and only paragraph has this ID P1. And you know that there is some text inside this paragraph, so I'm using the text method to directly access it. So let's see if this works. I'm going to click on the button, and there you go. You can see we got the pop-up. This is third paragraph in second division, which is what the text is, even though it is not the third paragraph and not the second division. This is just some random text, but we got our text in the alert box. Okay, so instead of alert, what you could have done is you can also use a JavaScript variable. I can say var txt is equal to use this entire thing, right? And then you can also alert it out to see if the text variable now holds the text value. So let's see if this works. If I click on action, you can see it is working. So this is getting the text which is already there on the screen or on the web page. What if you want to change that text? So in this case, the same method is going to be used. However, here what happens is the text that you want to change has to be passed as an argument inside the text method. So that's the only thing that is different compared to getting and setting. So right now what we did is we took the value which is already there in the paragraph. So that is getting the value, or getter method or get method basically. And when you're setting something, that is you're passing a new value, you have to pass it as an argument. So what I can do is here I don't need the LHS because we are not fetching the value, we are setting new value, right? So I'm going to say $P1. I'm going to use the selector. I'm going to call the same method text, but now I'm going to say hello world. And now if I click the button, you can see the text got changed. So I'm using the same method but in a different way, because when I'm passing arguments, it is acting as a setter method, and when I'm using it without anything, it is acting as a getter method. Okay, so right now if I click, nothing is going to happen because we need something to hold this text So we need a variable or you need an alert method to pop it up. So that's why nothing is happening. Now in the same way, the HTML method also works, but the HTML is slightly different. Okay, so let's see first what the text method is giving. So you can see the entire text is given back. Now let's replace this text method with the HTML method. So I'm going to say HTML over here. And now if I click on action, you can see along with the text we also got the HTML tag which was there inside the paragraph tag. So anything inside this paragraph tag which is in HTML tag, so let's say if I say I tag over here and if I pass this second inside, okay, so this becomes italic. Okay, so now if I click on action, you can see this I tag is also shown. So this is the only difference between the HTML method and the text method. So when you're using text method, only the entire text is written back and any HTML inside that text is excluded. But when you use the HTML method, the HTML tags in the text are also being returned. Okay, so that's the only difference. So let's say I want to set this text and not pop it up. So what I can do is I can say $p1.html. Inside this in double quotes, I can pass this entire text and I can say this is first paragraph in first division. Okay. So when I'm setting the text, again if I want to pass some HTML elements or HTML tags in the text, I have to use the HTML method. So if I click on action, you can see this is the first and then paragraph was bolded because we passed it as an argument and in the first division. So this text is, I made a mistake in the text. So this again first text is in italic. Now if I would have changed this HTML to text, what would have happened is if I click on action, you can see the entire tag is also being put as a plain text in the paragraph, right? So we don't want that. So make sure you know the difference between the HTML and the text method. There is only a slight difference. Okay, so now let's move on to the ATTR or attribute method. Now many times our tags in the HTML have some attributes. So the attributes are these green values, right? So in this division, you can see we have ID attribute, we have class attribute. So let's say you want to know what is the value of this attribute. Okay, so let's say in the P tag, we have this ID, right? So ID is P1. So let's say there is one more attribute. Let's say I have given it a value of hello world. Okay, so this is the attribute name and the value of that attribute is hello world, right? So I want to know the value of this attribute whose name is value. Okay, so don't confuse, this is the name and this is the actual value. So what I can do is I can call the selector. I can select this paragraph using the ID selector and I can say ATTR. Inside this I will pass the name of the attribute. So the name of the attribute is value. So if I pass this, hit semicolon, and if I try to alert this out, so let's say alert, let's see what we get. So there you go, you can see we got the value of the attribute whose name is value. In fact, you know what, since it sounds confusing, let's change this to class P1 class. Okay, so now I'm passing this attribute class over here and the value of that class is P1 class, right? So when I click on action, I'm getting P1 class. So the value of this attribute class is P1 class, which is what is being printed over here. So this is what this attribute method does. If you want to fetch the attribute, you can use this. And lastly, we have the CSS method. So again, CSS method is used to fetch the CSS of the HTML elements. So again, let me just copy this entire line, comment it out, and I'll paste it over here. We have to use the CSS method. Now in CSS method, we have to pass what exactly do you want to know about this P1 tag. Okay, so this paragraph has some text in it, right? So let's say what you want to know, the color of the text. So I pass color over here. If I click action, you can see I'm getting the RGB 000, which stands for black. I can also say font family. So the font family for the paragraph is going to be printed. If I click action, you can see Times New Roman is the font family. Similarly, I can also ask for font size and it should be 14 pixel, I guess, 14 or 16. Yeah, 16 pixel, right? So this is how you can access the CSS styles of a particular element on the HTML. So you can do this for division also. So if I access this division, I can ask for what is the border of this division 1. So we know the border is blue, right? So I'm asking for the border, and if I click on action, you can see it is 2 pixels solid and then we have the RGB color. So this color corresponds to blue. Okay. So that's how you can access the different CSS attributes or CSS styles of different HTML elements on the document. So yeah, this was jQuery DOM manipulations in a very basic way. These 4 methods are quite widely used to access and set different things and perform jQuery DOM manipulations. So that's it for this video, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Do share it with your friends. Let me know in the comments how this video was, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.